The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, everybody, how are you doing today? Awesome. So y'all doing pretty well? Good. All right. Well, y'all can see everything and hear everything. Let's go ahead and get it going. All right. Let me hit the record button. We'll get started. All right. This is Daryl Martin from apexinvesting.com doing another webinar on Be the Sniper or Be the Target. It's your choice. If you don't know which one you are, you're probably the target. So as with all of our events, we have to have disclosures. So make sure you know what you're doing before you're doing it. There is risk in investing and, all that fun stuff. All right, so what are we covering tonight? We're going to go into mental capital. We're going to talk about the 10 gremlins in trading, mental toughness, what it takes to keep trading, and how to turn your feelings into fuel. We're also going into mental capital deposits, mental capital withdrawals, how to easily recognize trend versus chop, and simplifying divergence. How does that sound for a topic? Does that sound like good content? Y'all ready? Sweet. Okay. So again, we're talking about mental capital. So you have trading capital, but part of that capital has to be mental. And you want to deposit. You want to have a positive mental capital, not negative mental capital. So one of my favorite quotes comes from the movie Billions by Axelrod there, and he says a good trader, a bad trader feels bad when they make a trade. A good trader feels good when they make a trade, and a great trader feels nothing when they make a trade. But can you really feel nothing when you make a trade? I mean, just coming right down to it, can you feel nothing at all? Or are you going to have emotion? Exactly, no. So you're going to have emotion. So there's no way you're going to be Spock. Exactly. Your ego gets involved, your emotions get involved. So especially when your money gets involved. So, but you can acknowledge your emotion. I knew the risk, I accepted it, that is what I felt. Okay, so you need to acknowledge your emotion is one of the biggest things you can do to actually use your emotions in your favor. Like, I know this is, before I even get in the trade, I know what the risk is, and I accept that. I'm okay with that. So the one thing you want to try to avoid is the feelings of doubt, regret, and second guessing. Anybody in here have that issue? You're not taking trades because of always, yes, yes, all the time, never. So you want to get past that, all right? So you need to know that your exits are clearly defined. Do you think if you don't have clearly defined exits, if you're just trying to randomly guess when to get out, that you're going to have more emotion? So yeah, you're going to have a lot more emotion. That's why, does it help a lot to have like those ATMs set up where it defines your stop and your take profit? You get in, you get out, you make money, you're done. Like there's no other emotional guessing. No, you don't have to figure it out. So it's a massive advantage to have that in place. So another thing is to have the positive feelings is I had a reason for the trade and for my exit plan. It wasn't an impulse. So does it help when you make a trade that was actually defined? Like you had an Xbox setup, everything was lined up, and you execute for that reason. And hey, sometimes it may not work. But does that feel that doesn't withdraw from your mental capital? Okay, because you had a reason and you executed it. You exited when you were supposed to. Now, if you go in and you do a trade from impulse because of what you feel or think, then do you think that can easily have a mental drawdown on you and actually take away from your mental capital? Sometimes even if it works, can it take away from mental capital? So because every little tick, you're like just so invested in it. It can be even worse when it works because then it reinforces bad behavior, right? And then all of a sudden you do another one, and hey, it worked, and then boom, it blows up in your face, and you're like, what happened? Now, Again, you're not going to be Spock. It doesn't mean you're going to be absent from emotions. It means that despite emotions, you can make clear decisions. Do y'all understand the difference there? Despite having emotions, I can make a clear decision on my entry and a clear decision on my exits. Do you see how that could have a lot more positive mental capital? Because you're not going to get rid of your emotions. They're not going away. But they will be heightened and in more control of you if you're doing it without clear decisions. And that's what the sniper trading is all about, right? You have very clear decisions on when to get in, when to get out, and we're going to help even make that more clear here at the end of the webinar as well. So you don't want your trading to be, emotion based. It's going to give you highs and lows because you're going to feel like a trading god, and then you're going to feel like the stupidest person in the world, right? Everybody been there? Like you make one trade, you make a fortune, you make another trade, and you lose a fortune. So, or several trades in a row. Everybody's been on those highs and those lows because they made impulse-based decisions, right? So, again, I know this sounds so basic, but it's like having that plan, having those clear decisions will help keep you out of those highs and those lows. There's sort of I don't know if you've ever watched the show Billions. I believe it's on Showtime. And there's a guy called Dollar Bill, and he has the chicken guy, and the chicken guy gives him a report. He has an in with him, and he's able to find out what he's going to report on the chickens because the guy's too lazy to go around and actually inspect all the chicken houses and find out, if there's going to be enough chickens or not. And so he has this in to get this big edge to make a big trade based off of it. Well, he goes out and finds out that he's wondering why the number hasn't come out. It was delayed. It was FOMC not coming out at the right time. He's like, what's going on? He actually goes out to the guy's house and breaks in and finds out the guy has died in his chair. And he is so desperate to make this trade work, emotionally he gets caught up and he starts wanting to poison the food supply and kill the chickens off to make sure the chicken numbers are low. And Axel has actually shows a little bit of, morality at this point and decides to pull him back because of the emotional-based decision. So we don't want to make our trades based on emotions and then just have emotions pile on top of it. So everybody got that? Pretty simple, but important. Okay? Now, let's talk about 10 gremlins that we all face in trading. First, it's not a bulls versus bears thing. You need to realize that. Okay? The real challenge is yourself in the market. I would say it's just as much, if not more important than the system that you trade. Because you could have the best system in the world, which I think Sniper is among those. But if you're not in control of you, then you're going to mess it up. Anybody done that so far? Made some mistakes based on themselves? And that's been their biggest challenge. They look back and they're like, oh, it was a great day, but I just totally jacked the day up. It was you. It wasn't the system, right? So what are some of those things? Well, fear. You got the fight, I'm going to get my money back, or flee, I'm just going to stop trading and I can't hit a button. Or freeze, I can't take profit, I can't do my stop loss, I'm just going to keep moving it. Right? So you got fear, you got anger, and anger is born from frustration resulting from the mind and body not working together. Okay, it's usually, an acknowledgement that you don't have control of something. So it makes you very frustrated, which turns into anger. Anxiety. So you're anxious about being anxious. You have the inability to handle uncertainty. And that's a big topic we're going to talk about, is handling uncertainty. Because as a trader, you've actually chosen a professional path that deals in uncertainty. And a lot of us haven't thought about it that way, but we're going to talk about that more. Being self-conscious, afraid of looking bad, not willing to ask questions, not willing to post charts. Have any of y'all been shy about that? About posting your charts or asking questions in the room just because you just don't want to look bad. You don't want to look new. Yeah. So some of you are like, yes, heck yes. Some are like, I'm starting to post more. I felt that way many times. I don't want to look like an idiot. Well, that's one of the gremlins in trading. That's a you thing because you're holding yourself back because you're not willing to get better. You'd rather look better. Okay? So you really got to be aware that mentality of being afraid to look bad is actually withdrawing mental capital from your ability to trade well. The more you put yourself out there, the better you'll do. And David says it's a really expensive thing to not put yourself out there. So it's like, I want to improve more than I want to look good. So perfectionist, any perfectionist in the rooms? Thinks it's all about numbers. You expect certainty, it should always work. There must be one more indicator I can add on top of this. You engineers out there, right? If I could just do one more thing, then I could not have a losing trade. I mean, this is so good. Maybe I can just make it not lose at all. So, only to your wife. That's funny. But so perfectionism, can definitely be one of the gremlins of trading. That's a challenge in yourself. And you have to go, you know what? This isn't going to be perfect. Okay? Stubbornness, being unwilling to learn. Some of y'all don't want to watch the training. You don't want to be in the room. You don't want to do the homework and go back and do replay. You just want somebody to spoon feed you. And you're like, well, I want someone there, to call out trades for me 24 hours a day. I want somebody at night. I can't be there in the morning. Well, you may have to learn some more, You have to watch the training. Some of y'all haven't watched all the videos in Section 8. Are there anybody who's willing to admit that they've not watched every video in Section 8 at least once, if not twice? Okay, so Section 8 is all about when not to take trades. So the challenge is yourself, right? You got to be willing to sit down and do that. And yeah, there's exactly. Some people said I've watched them, but I haven't watched the new videos. So yeah, to sit down and, even if you just watch one a night, or, maybe you can binge watch a few in a row, but it'll make a big difference if you'll invest in yourself. And again, that's the real challenge is you. It's not necessarily the market. The content is there to help you. The mentor rooms are there to help you. The elite room is there to help you. The forum is there to help you. The Facebook group is there to help you. Okay. But you got to be willing to take advantage of it. Lack of motivation. The lack of drive to do what's necessary. It's not that I'm not talking about lack of want. Okay. Obviously everybody wants to make money, but you have the drive to do what is necessary, such as post charts, be in the room, watch the videos, and do your homework. And do it on a consistent basis and work at it till you get it down. And the only way you're going to get that drive is if you have, and I've talked about this before, is the why. It can't just be about what you want. It has to be about why you want it. And you want to dig at least 3 layers deep. Like, I want to make money. Great. Why? Well, because I want to pay off my house. Okay, why? Well, because the mortgage makes it where I barely have any money left over at the end of the month and I can't buy things for my kids. Okay, so why is that important? Because I really love my kids. I want to take care of them. I want to provide the best for them. All right, so now is that's now your why, your motivation for doing what's necessary. Why am I going to sit down and do this late at night? Because I want to, take care of my kids. I want to, not work as a Walmart greeter when I'm 70 years old. To be able to have, pay my electric bill, So knowing those whys is really going to help you through motivation. Lack of competitiveness, unwillingness to put in the time to be the best. Now, I'm not talking about like I have to be better than you have to be better than me. Some people are joking about, just like not wanting to be beat by my 7-year-old who trades. It's not about like me versus Lori. I'm talking about you being better than you yesterday. One of my favorite quotes from Johnny Wimbrey is, what are you doing today that you did not do yesterday to make your tomorrow better than today? So what are you doing today that you did not do yesterday to make yourself better at trading that you did not do today? So all is about competing against you. Am I a better trader today than I was yesterday? Will I be a better trader tomorrow because of what I do today? Okay, so Christopher Paul says, I'm watching this webinar. That's what I'm doing today. There you go. So distractions, lack of sleep, jumping around to find perfection, every little indicator that pops up in your email inbox, listening to the talking bobbleheads on TV. You think these things can impact you? If you're always reading every little news story out there, if you're tired and sick, do you think that's going to impact your ability to trade well? Yeah. I mean, if I'm not trading, if I'm not feeling well that day, or if I'm in a crappy mood, I don't trade. This morning I hopped on, I literally had a wire that goes out to my studio apartment where I have my office at, and the wire got a short in it. It blew the box, it blew the meter, and it blew the transformer. I set up in the RV. I was probably in there for maybe an hour out of the day total. And I was done. I didn't try to sit there and force my way through it. Okay? And then, one guy says, hey, don't listen to people on TV. By the time they talk about it, it's late and they don't trade anyway. They don't know. They're just trying to have something to say. So, apathy. Sometimes you just don't care enough. Signs of this would be, I'm going to quit because this is difficult. I'm going to quit because I'm having Ninja Trader issues. I'm going to quit because I don't understand or I can't get into trades fast enough. I'm going to quit because there's too many videos I got to watch and I want it to be easier. That's apathy. That's not caring enough. That's not having the motivation. Your why is not there. So those are the 10 gremlins in trading that can really withdraw from your mental capital and get in the way of you being a trader. It's not simply about the markets. A lot of this, this is all you. So can everybody on this webinar, we have a couple hundred people on here right now. Can everybody at least identify with one or more of these things that they either have or currently are allowing to get in their way? 5 or 6 of them? Yeah. So do you think if you just, at least as a first step, acknowledge these things, that will help you start to face that emotion and overcome it? Versus simply ignoring it? So sort of the first step is, admitting it, right? But it really is. So it's like, hey, okay, I am self-conscious. I'm going to do it anyway. I don't want to watch the training, but I know why I really want this, so I'm going to do it anyway. I want to be better than I was yesterday, so I'm going to try to learn something every day so I can be a better trader tomorrow. Whatever it is, just acknowledging these things allows you to confront them and take them on. And so, this is one of those webinars you might want to watch again. So you got to have mental toughness as a trader. Behaviors and beliefs about yourself and trading. I work with a group of kids, 6th graders, on Wednesday nights. It's a sort of a community youth group. It's not really a church so much as it's just a youth group church. That's about 100 kids, and my job is I work with the 6th grade boys. And one of the boys, and he's in 6th grade, obviously, and he's like, yeah, I have a 3.2, level reading, and I'm a really bad reader. And I'm like, no, you're not. And he's like, well, yeah, I am. I'm like, well, you just got to read more. You got to work at it. And he's like, yeah, but I'm a horrible reader. And I'm like, stop saying you're a horrible reader, or you're going to keep being a horrible reader. I'm like, I want you to say out loud, I'm a good reader. And he's like, I'm a good reader. And a smile popped up on his face. And I'm like, start seeing yourself as what you can be, not simply as what you are. It's like, it's okay to acknowledge that you have a challenge at something, but it's also important to go, hey, where am I going to be? And start looking at yourself that way. So you have to have the right behaviors. You have to have the right beliefs about yourself. Okay? And, you got to be competitive. You got to find a way to make it happen. Like, I'm not going to let my computer or Ninja or time even get in my way. You got to be confident that you are able to do this, because you are able to do this. There is literally only, I've taught over 30,000 something traders directly, and there is probably only like 2 or 3 I can think of that weren't able. Okay? And nobody on this room is one of them. Okay? And I told them, I'm like, this is not for you. Meaning pretty much everybody I've ever talked to is capable of doing this. And I'm telling every one of you right now, you need to be confident you're able to do this. You just have to work through some things. Control. You have to be consciously aware of yourself. I'm not talking about like, oh, you're in control of everything. But you have to be aware of yourself and your emotions that you're having and acknowledge them, or else they will subconsciously cause problems for you. You got to be committed. You have to be self-directed and highly motivated. I've challenged y'all several times now to write out your what you want and why you want it. So who on here has done that? Who has actually physically written down what they want and why they want it? So I got a few of you. There we go. Got a few more. Anybody else actually written it down? Handwritten. And really write it out. My handwriting sucks too, but I still write it down. Read it every morning. It's part of my pre-trading ritual. That's awesome. And I said, put it somewhere where you'll read it every day, whether it be by your monitor, by your TV, by your mirror, whatever. Anybody here has not done that yet? Has anybody not done that yet? Written out what they want and why they want it. It's okay to admit it, okay? Has anybody not written it out yet? Okay, so I just got it in my head. Haven't done it yet. I've done it mentally. Only on my computer. So yeah, I mean, wording is important in the sense that it needs to be specific. So I'm going to challenge you to literally write it down and put it somewhere where you can see it. So if you haven't done that, do that, because that's what's going to help develop that commitment, that confidence. It's going to help you be self-aware. It's going to help give your motivation that you need. So I got one person that says, I haven't done it because I'm too used to being disappointed. You're going to keep being disappointed. Remember, goals without direction, okay, without decisiveness, are literally disappointments. All right, so literally, if you don't write it down, you will continue to be disappointed. You're going to have to write it down and work for it until you have it. Because part of it is programming, just like Walt said, programming your subconscious. And you can have like 12-month goals. You can hear my dogs Delta and Vega out there. I name them after option Greeks. But yeah, you can make the goals small. Like, what do I want to accomplish in a year? What do I want to accomplish in 6 months, 3 months, 1 month? Okay? So, Robert says, you can either accept disappointment or you can, make an excuse not to deal with success. Like, do you want to be successful? Then do it. But, and it's more than simply, I can do this and I want to do this. It's what, like, I want to be making $10,000 a month in 12 months. Now, if you have an account with $4,000, that's realistic. If not, maybe in 18 months, I want to be making $10,000 or $20,000 a month. Okay. Right now, I just want to have, a successful, right? Like in the next 3 months, I want to still be trading live and have my account be bigger than it is right now. This week, I want to be net positive. Today, I want to place trades based on the system and make sure I understand divergence and trends and things like that. So you can be specific on those goals, but then also under that have your why. You're like, really, why is it important to you? Because it can't just be because I want to, just because I want to make money. It's got to be deeper to take you further. A big thing is you have to have composure. You have to have the ability to keep your cool versus panic and react. Anybody relate to this one? You get in a trade and it starts ticking against you. Some of those will come like literally to the tick, like right next to your stop, and then come back down. You're up 5 ticks and you're like, I'm just going to take it. I can't take it anymore. So you got to have composure. All right. So if you don't have that, then you need to acknowledge it. It's like, hey, this is me, panicking versus me being focused. Me saying, hey, I'm going to follow my trading plan and trust my trading plan. I'm not trusting it right now. Maybe I'm risking too much money and I need to do micros. Okay? Courage. Take risk in the midst of uncertainty. This is a big one. You so have to come to the point where you realize that you are trading in uncertainty. Okay? I don't know how to make this, I guess I will make it more clear as we go, but you're taking the risk despite the uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen once you get in. You don't know if you're going to be profitable or not. Do y'all think that's true? Does everybody, really acknowledge that fact that you are taking on uncertainty? Yeah, and somebody says something really interesting. Robert says 50-50 is hard to accept when we are expecting to win. So I'm expecting to follow my plan. And it drives Lori nuts, but I say I take every trade as if it's a 50-50. Even though I may win 80, 90 plus % of my trades, I still take every trade as a 50-50. Part of that, it keeps my risk management in check. Because when I start expecting to win, then I start risking more. Right? So if I go, hey, this is a 50-50, I'm going to risk what I can afford to risk on the trade. Even though if I follow my plan, it usually does work out, I'm going to trade as if it's 50-50. Because there's a 50-50 chance every time you flip the coin, it's going to land on heads or tails. Even though I know historically, hey, 90% of these have landed on heads. Okay? So you have to acknowledge the uncertainty of trading to be able to overcome the mental challenges, to get that mental deposit. It's a mental withdrawal if you're trying to have certainty in the midst of uncertainty. One person says, how do you deal with losing 2 or 3 trades in a row if you follow rules? Well, that's where we have the 6-3 rule in place. You should be able to take 6 net losses and be able to trade tomorrow. If not, you're trading too big. It's hard to get 6 net losses trading the system. And that's why we stop when we're up 3 net wins. But if you have to stop after you've lost 2 or 3 trades in a row, then, one, I'd like to see your charts to find out why you're losing 2 or 3 in a row. But 2, the big point here is if you have to stop, are you risking too much capital? And then consistency. You got to have that inner strength, that dedication to move forward. Okay? You got to have consistency day in, day out to be mentally tough and do what it takes to be successful in trading. So, what does it take to keep trading? It takes desire. What do you want and how bad do you want it? And why do you want it, right? Just like we just talked about. Takes dedication. You got to turn that desire into action. Desire without action is disappointment. Determination. You literally have to have an unwavering resolve. And these sound similar, but they're not the exact same. I am going to make this happen. I am going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out why I'm losing 2 or 3 trades in a row. I'm not just going to let it happen. So many times, and Waldus brings up a great point, maybe you lost 2 or 3 trades in a row because you skipped several trades in between those trades. because you had uncertainty, and so you had fear, and you actually missed out on several good ones in the process. And so that was really why you lost several in a row. Because when you start cherry picking, you start cherry picking the wrong ones every time. Discipline. Doing something you need to do whether or not you want to. Sometimes I don't want to get up and trade. Right? Sometimes I don't want to do replay on something and test something out. Maybe you don't want to watch a video or do market replay this weekend. You'd rather go out and have fun. Okay? So you got to have discipline. You got to do something whether you want to or not, because you need to be a disciplined trader if you want to keep trading. Duration. You got to be willing to put in the time. It doesn't just happen in 30 minutes. You know, here's another discipline. Travis says, I hate getting up at 5 a.m. So I'm guessing you're on the West Coast. Start saying, I like getting up at 5 a.m. Start saying, I want to get up at 5 a.m. I am a morning person. Just start saying it. Or move east. One of the two. We have cheaper taxes. You got to be docile. You got to be easy to teach. Okay? I see some traders come in and they're like, well, this is how I see it, or that's how I see it, or this is how I've done it. And I'm like, that's great. And if that's working for you and you're making a fortune, then do it. If you're trying to get better, you need to listen. If you're not making money consistently, you definitely need to listen and be teachable. Would you all agree that all these things right here are required to keep being a great trader? Definitely. Yeah. So you really want to focus on these things and make sure you're doing them. Now let's talk about what drives the show. What really runs the show? Intellect or feelings? Your intellect needs to run it, but your emotions will run it. Okay? Your conscious and your unconscious emotions. That's why I talk about what plus why equals I must. The why is the emotional part. Okay? The must plus how is the now. That's what Sniper is for you and all the training that we do for you. Thoughts without feelings lead to no action. Like, well, I need to lose weight. But if I don't really feel like I must lose weight in order to be healthy and live a longer life and see my grandchildren one day and all that stuff, if that's not really important to me, I'm not going to take the right action because I don't have any feeling with that thought. Feelings actually drive everything. And one of the things is, like, think of it as a car, which is the intellect, but it takes a driver. Okay? So your intellect is your car. It's your what. It's your how, but you need your why to drive it. And drivers are often the last thing we look at. One of the last things people ask about is themselves in trading. I'll give you proof. We've done a lot of webinars. This webinar has one of the lowest attendance rates compared to our other webinars because the title is about trading psychology. If I would have made the main title, How to Spot Divergence Easily, we would have had a lot higher attendance. Because self is one of the last things people look at. And the ones who have been trading longer realize the value. So I guarantee you that a lot of the people that aren't on here are brand new. And those who are brand new, I highly congratulate you for taking the time to do this one, because this is one of the most important webinars. Because a lot of people just don't want to work on their shortcomings. I mean, usually we can have, 300 something on the webinars. We have about 200 on here. So often we don't look at ourselves. So it's literally as if traders think feelings are old, useless, and destructive. Like, They want a better system. They want a better car. They want a better tool, a better system. Just give me a better indicator. Just give me better rules. They don't ever want to look at themselves, right? Thursday's all you can eat shrimp night. That would get them in. Then we'd have like 500. So the car is obviously important, but equally, if not more important, is the driver. Y'all agree? No matter how good of a car you have, if you're a bad driver, you're going to wreck it. So when I was in my 20s, I bought a Viper. When I made my first million, I bought a Viper. And before I could drive it off the lot, they made me take a driving lesson. Okay? And they took me out and they taught me how to drift and everything else in the car, because they've had people literally wreck the cars within 3 minutes of driving off the lot and total them. So it wasn't an issue of the car, but it was an issue of the driver knowing how to handle the car. Okay? So the driver is extremely crucial. I don't care how good of a car, how good of a system you have. You, the driver, understanding your emotions and yourself is so important. The driver, the emotions impact, the feelings impact the perception of what you see on the road and how we make your decisions. When I was out driving that thing literally 160, 180 miles an hour, do you think my perception had to change than when I'm just driving like 50? When I take it out to the Texas Motor Speedway and drive it around out there, do you think I had to see things a little bit differently than I do just driving it down the road on a regular road? You get this tunnel vision. You walk in, you see further, and you're making decisions, literally hundreds and hundreds of feet out, not because you're going to be there in seconds. You're not just making them like real slow. So I had to get in tune. My perception was very important. So remember, your feelings drive the show, so you can't ignore this part. So perception is your expectation of what you see that the market is about to do. It's based on what you can see. Okay? So it's literally based on what you can see. Your decisions are based on your perception. Your perception literally is your reality. Understanding your feelings and how they impact you and your view and others as reflected on the chart will help you correct your perception. So if you understand your feelings as you're trading, you'll trade better, but also you'll understand how other people are feeling, and you'll start to see what's going to happen in the market, because you're like, if I feel this way, guess what? So do most everybody else. The 90% traders feel the same way. I'm aware of it. They're not aware of it. Okay, this is how I would react if I was letting my feelings drive the show versus my plan. Okay, does that make sense? The more you understand yourself, the more you'll understand the market itself, because the market is just a bunch of other people like you trading. So you got your unconscious and your conscious emotions that impact your trading perception. Your unconscious needs and expectations can totally change a trading decision. If I feel like I have to make the money to pay the rent, if I feel like I can't lose because I can't afford to lose on this trade because I'm trading too big, do you think that'll impact your trading decision? Like a little bit or a lot? If you have to win and you can't lose because you feel like that's not possible, yeah, it'll have just a massive impact on your trading decisions. So this is where, one of our, more experienced traders said, hey, I've got to quit after a couple trades. And I'm like, that tells me one thing. You need to go down to maybe doing like 6 micros instead of like a full mini contract. You need to be able to take those 6 losses. Yeah, your profits will go down a little bit because you're not trading the full-size contracts and the commissions are a little bit higher. but you'll be trading more mentally stable. And as your account grows, you'll get back up to that point with your account size and with the mental strength that you need. So don't always be in such a rush that you blow yourself up. So your perception is your belief. Your belief is the foundation of your judgment. And your judgment is the key to trading in uncertainty. So again, your perception is your belief. Like, I can't lose on this trade, so I'm going to hold on to it too long. I'm not going to take it, whatever. That's going to drive all of your judgment, which your judgment is literally how you deal with uncertainty. Belief is not certainty. Okay? Judgment is how you make sense of risk. Belief does not mean, what do I mean belief is not certainty? Belief is, I believe this trade will work out because I've seen a lot of the trades work out, but it doesn't mean I have certainty it's going to. And since I have that belief that I'm uncertain how this trade is going to turn out, then I can make sense of trading the risk of putting it on, even though emotionally I'm like, or one lost or whatever, and I can put the next trade on because I'm not risking too much. And if I accepted the risk, and therefore I can make better judgment calls and put the trade on, I can see the screen clear. I'm ready for a long and short because I'm not biased in one direction or the other. I'm not overtrading my account. And it's okay that I'm taking this risk because I understand there is uncertainty in the midst of trading. You have to use that emotion as data. Like, it literally is another indicator. If anything, it's almost like the holy grail of indicators is your own emotions. Because it will give you, if you're not aware of them, as a data point and where you are, they're going to impact your belief, your perception, and your judgment calls. Do you need certainty to put on the trade or just certainty that you can afford the risk we are taking to take the trade? You will not ever have certainty to put on the trade because you don't know the outcome of the trade. You need the certainty that you can take the risk and the certainty that you're following your plan and that over time your plan will work out. On this trade, I have no certainty on the trade. I am certain that I am uncertain. Does that make sense? So increase your mental capital by increasing your emotional awareness and your perceptions and things that you maybe need to work on, like we talked about the 10 gremlins, so your mental capital goes up, not down. If you try to deny it and become Spock, that's going to become a mental withdrawal. So again, we got the feelings are the fuel for your thought. Feelings unconscious and conscious. Want. Why do you want it is a feelings. That's why I tell you, why do you want it? Okay? So Richard says, I need certainty that I can identify the trade and the system works. Once I have that, I can fire for effect. Yes. So, and again, the system works not necessarily on every trade, but over the course of trades. Right? And in the meantime, keep your risk low enough until you've built that certainty. So you have a point of view. You have to believe it. You have to have confidence that you're correct and you're right, and conviction. All the emotional context comes into action when you press that button. So exactly, that mental toughness is that why you want it helps you go through all the obstacles. Love, obviously, is an emotion. Sports are often very performance embraced. But think about this. Quarterbacks don't simply study. Like a quarterback, I'm talking about an NFL quarterback, doesn't simply study their own plays. They watch game tape. They see how other people react. They see reactions. Okay? You need to see how you react, your own game tape. The best traders don't simply talk about bars and lines and formulas, but about emotions in relation to them. That's why we're talking about them right now, to help make you one of the best traders. So, risk management, we blame it on them. We blame it on emotions. Think about this. Emotion never lost money. That is a fact. Emotion never lost money. Decisions that were driven by emotions that you weren't aware of have probably lost you a lot of money in trading. It's the actions that arise from the emotions. One of the biggest misquotes of all time, money is the root of all evil. What is the actual quote? Who can tell me? Because money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. Like where your whole desire is love. Why do you think I tell you it's not simply about the money? Why do you want the money? It's a lot deeper than money. Right? It's the love for your family, the confidence in your future, the not being enslaved to debt. A lot different than simply I want money. So you got to study your own game tape. So on expectations, a number only means something in context of what sits next to it. A plus, a minus, times, periods, all that stuff. A percent by definition, if I win 90% of the time, a percent by definition means probability. Have you thought about that? Probability is not a magical wand. Probability is not certainty. 2 plus 2 is 4 is certainty. But a percent is by definition uncertainty. Even if you win 90% of the time, that means that, at best you can say I'm certain that 10% of the time I'm going to be wrong. Does that make sense? You literally, statistically, no matter how good your trading is, you are trading in uncertainty. And you have to embrace this fact. So that perception will drive your decision and will help you deal with the consequences or lack thereof. We do or don't take actions because of perceived consequences. Because I can't afford to lose this trade. Because I must make money. I got to take the profit quick. I can't let it run. So what drives your perception? Is it probability or possibility? Y'all tell me, what should drive it? Because it is probability based. Possibility just means I hope it'll work out. It'll be nice if it did. So you want to actually move from possibilities to probabilities, because probabilities mean I acknowledge that I'm trading in uncertainty. Does that make sense? The possibility is more like the hope. I really hope this works out. I really think this could be possible. It could be my future. Okay, there may be a good probability it could work, but I need to work on probability and acknowledge that uncertainty in order to move forward. Otherwise, that lack of certainty, when I try to deny it, is going to get in my way and jack with my emotions, which will jack with my perception, which will jack with my judgment, and help me turn a great system into a bad one. So what are some of the emotional capital withdrawals? You enter even though it doesn't quite line up. Anybody done that before? Doesn't quite line up, but I'm going to go ahead and take it anyway. So some of you are like, nope. Some of you are like, yep. That takes a withdrawal from your mental capital. You get frustrated because you entered before you should have. Like, I just want to get it quick, and I didn't want to have to move that far to get in. And you're annoyed at yourself, and you get out, or worse, you add on to the contracts. Anybody done that before? Put on more contracts? Because if I put on more at a lower price and average in, it'll be easier to get out, and then I don't have to take the loss. Or you get out too early. These are literally capital withdrawals. Y'all starting to see some of this? You feel guilty for going against your plan. Anybody ever feel guilty for going against their plan before? And by the way, how do y'all think I know all this stuff? Do you think it's because I've observed people doing it, or do you think it's because I've done it myself? Been there, done that. Doug's like, because you're spying on me while I'm trading. So I've been there. Like, and I want to bring that up because I want you to know you're not the only one going through these things. But if you're aware of them, you can get better. If you were listening, you would step away and get your emotions and head in sync. So if you're making bad decisions, it's time to get up and walk away from your computer, acknowledge what's going on in your head, get yourself in the right headspace, then you can come back. Sometimes that means you can come back in 5 minutes. Sometimes that means that you need to come back tomorrow. You don't, and you continue to make emotional capital withdrawals. So if you don't listen to yourself, you're just going to keep making withdrawals over and over again. If you keep seeing this behavior, you will see the debits, the emotional capital withdrawal debits reflected in your account. Do y'all believe that statement? So do you actually see why I'm talking about this as being mental capital? Because if you have withdrawals from your mental capital, you actually have withdrawals from your account capital as well. Awesome. Y'all are getting this. This is fantastic. I love this subject because I think it's just so crucial. What about emotional capital deposits? You do everything right. You executed like you were supposed to, when you were supposed to, the way the system was supposed to have you do it. The trade for the day can go against you, but you can actually get a emotional capital deposit if you did what you were supposed to. Some days it just doesn't work. Some trades just don't work. We haven't had too many of those, fortunately. Or if you have, then let us know so we can help you. But if the day doesn't go in your favor, but you followed your plan, do you think you have a better chance of coming back tomorrow than if you have a bad day and you didn't follow your plan of coming back tomorrow with the right headspace? So you can come back tomorrow with the right headspace if you followed your plan, even if you didn't necessarily have account growth. But if you have account debit and you didn't follow your plan, then you have a lot of stuff going against you the next day. So again, you honor your plan, it loses. Again, it can still be a deposit because you honored your plan. You may not be happy about it, but you accept it. You survived because you followed your plan and used good risk management. Sometimes you need to take a break. Hit the gym. It'll help you work off some of that steam, okay? Come back with more energy and get a clear head. If you did this, how much better would your year be when you have down days? If you actually put what I've been talking about into place, when you have down days, but you were following your plan, you honored it, you went off, you took a break, you hit the gym, whatever, but you didn't have down days because you broke your plan, but you had down days because you followed your plan, do you think you'd have a lot better year and a lot more income? Definitely. Exactly. You can dust yourself off and get back on the horse. All right, so are y'all liking this? Is this kind of training beneficial to you? Do you think this kind of self-awareness makes a big difference between the 90-90-90 and the 10%? Like, do you think the 90-90-90 have any of this kind of self-awareness going on at all? But do you think the 10% probably have a lot of this awareness going on? So if you want to make it to that 10%, you're obviously going to need that. What if you could have a lot more training on this? Some of y'all have been to the all-in training, right? There was some of y'all in here actually went to the all-in training where I trained on all this. Yeah. And y'all learned a lot from it. Probably need to go back and rewatch some of it. So we have an all-in course that's $1,000, and it includes 7 live sessions of me training live in Fort Worth in Texas. Okay? But what I want to do is, and I hope y'all are okay with this that have been there, but I think this is so crucial. okay, that I separated out all the mental capital, the 7 sessions of the mental capital. And through next Friday, I'm selling them for $237. And I wasn't trying to make this into a big sales pitch. I'm just trying to figure out how to get all this training in your hands. Okay? Now, I'm going to do another training next week, but you get access to literally, this is me training live on all of this and going into a lot more depth. Do some of y'all think this would be beneficial to you? Like it could actually, I mean, for a couple $100, do you think it could pay for itself pretty easily? So yeah. So if y'all want it, if you just go to the main sign up form under the account menu, there's a sign up for any plan or product, and it's on the top one on there for $237. Okay. Now I'm going to keep training you. Okay. But this is literally, I mean, everything. Like what I've done today is like just a snapshot of what's in here. So if you think what was in here was, good, I mean, just think about, we're going to go into context is king, psychological capital, breaking the cycles, fighting fire with fire, fear of losing, fear of missing out, anticipating missing out, regret, how to deal with regret, how winners can actually feel bad, how to dilute regret, how to overcome perfectionism. I'm going to go into something called fractal geometry, which sounds really complex, but it's not. We're going to go into self-analysis. I'm going to give you homework assignments on how to actually overcome these things. Okay? So, it's all online, but I recorded, this is from a live event, from the Apex live event we did last year. And these are all the recordings from me doing this. So y'all can get access to it for $237. And again, the all-in course cost $1,000. So getting access to this is a really, really good deal. Got Ronald, I did the live stream. It was awesome. If you're a platinum member, you already have access. Because you have it you have the all-in training already, which includes all this. But we could add that link just so it breaks it down, just the psychological part. But you have access already with the all-in. But let's go ahead and move forward. I don't want to make this a big sales pitch, but I wanted to make something available to give y'all, a chance to be able to get a hold of this at a really low price. A couple trades made from bad psychology can cover this course. Would y'all agree? You could easily lose $100 a couple times because of bad trades. What if you were more mentally strong? Okay, so check that out. Sign up for it. Again, it's $237. Then I'm going to put it back up. Okay? But I want to lower it down while we're in the sniper training to give y'all a chance that haven't done it, or maybe $1,000 is too much because you just opened an account, you just signed up with Apex, you just got Ninja Trader, you have all these fees, $1,000 on top of that. I didn't want that to be in your way. So literally this